YouTube, hi, how's it going? Oh, listen to that rain. Can you hear that through my little wireless speaker? This room we're in at the moment, that I'm standing in, this is my corset shop. And so I make corsetry for a living, and this shop is actually my carport. So it's got a tin roof, like one of those corrugated tin roofs up above. So you get this really nice rain sound when you're in here and it's raining. But I thought I'd quickly show you what I'm going to be doing in the next couple of videos. I'm going to start building my home cinema, and I've been looking forward to this. I actually already have started building it, but I've been waiting to get outside because, as you can see up there that's part of the sofa being built. In fact, have a look over here at this end. You can see up here all those small little pieces of pine. They're tiny little pieces of pine, you know, less than probably 800 mil long. I am about to start building the sofa. You can see there's a big chunk there that's missing. I've done all the corners basically just to get things, you know, started, and I can make sure all my measurements are fine. But if we come over here and look out the door, you'll probably see the rain actually. You can see that wheelbarrow out there. It's full of pine that I've been getting at the dump. It's all offcuts from professional builders. Most of it's actually brand new timber. And I've been waiting for this, you know, for this rain to stop. It's been raining for almost 2 weeks now. And I've been waiting for that to stop so I can get out there and hopefully get some dry timber, lumber, and cut it all to, you know, size and bring it in here, and then I can start. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. But anyway, yeah, so that's going to be in the next few videos. But what we're going to be doing today, I thought I'd pull the camera out because I'm going to do a little bit of minor surgery, I think, on one of my 3D printers. It's a CR-10S Pro V2. And it is awesome. Well, it isn't awesome. It's a good machine. I've had some problems with it. This is it here. I think I got this back in, when was it, November 2019, when they just come out. So this is exactly like the CR-10S Pro, but it has a BLTouch, which is a automatic bed leveling sensor. And yeah, it's had a lot of problems, to be honest with you. I was pretty new at 3D printing when I got this machine. I'd set up a friend's printer. I wouldn't say, yeah, I would be you'd class me as a novice, definitely, but I'd done a lot of study. You know, I'd been on forums for, you know, easily 18 months just trying to decide which printer to get, and you know, I was just biting the bit, wanting to get a printer, but I really wanted to research it a lot better before I went out and bought something. But yeah, this is the one that I decided to get. But I've had problems from basically day dot. Having said that, I've got some really beautiful, really nice prints out of this thing. I'll show you those in a little bit, but I'll just let you know some of the problems that I had with this printer when I first got it. And I'd say the first major problem would have been this bed, the bed they give you. This stuff here is designed to be a really easy build plate. You know, you can print anything on it, anyone, whether they're beginners or advanced. They're just so nice to print on. But trying to get the print off the bed, it's just a nightmare. Seriously, you can see all these marks on my... Honestly, this is all done by me not knowing what I was doing earlier on, and I'd scratch up my surface. But I'm kind of a bit better now at you know, the whole Z offset settings and how to kind of get things, you know, sorted out to print. But trying to get stuff off this bed it's a nightmare. I've broken prints and snapped prints. Yeah, you end up getting your bloody spatula out and you're kind of banging trying to get it off. At the same time, you're probably putting your bed out, and you'd have to re-level your bed. What I should have been doing is taking this entire plate off and then trying to hack at it. But the thing is, you shouldn't have to do all of that stuff to get a print off your bed. And I did a bit of, actually, after I set up my mate's printer, the Ender 3. He bought an Ender 3 Pro, and that's it here. I did a lot of work on this because he wasn't technically minded. He'd never, replaced main boards or motherboards and all of that kind of stuff, whereas I've got a lot of history in building computers and fixing TVs and all of that kind of stuff. So I do all of his maintenance for him, and I set it up really nicely. I replaced the main board in this, and I've just actually put a new dual gear extruder, this red thing that you're seeing up there. I've replaced that, and yeah. But the thing that really stuck out in my mind was his actual, build plate. The way it's magnetic, and you can just peel that off and then peel the print off that. And I thought it was fantastic. So I ended up getting one for my printer as well. And do you think I had a good time with that? No, it was a piece of crap. It was nowhere near like the Ender 3 one. In fact, this is it here. What I was finding is nothing would stick to it. This surface here basically wasn't like this surface here. It wasn't like the nice textured surface. This was actually really smooth. Actually, this surface here, when I got it, was like how this goes eventually after you scraped it so many times, and how you get these shiny flat spots on it. That's what this surface was when I bought it. It was basically all shiny, and I was sticking glue stick crap all over there and hairspray, and none of that stuff really worked. I think the glue stick worked, but I wasn't going to be glue sticking I didn't want to put glue stick down each time I wanted to do a print. And but the worst part about this whole experience with this magnetic plate was, this magnetic bed was, it wasn't even magnetized. It came with the magnetic, base, and to be honest, it's actually still stuck there. I've actually, stuck the magnetic sheet down. But it's still in between there. I don't want to take it off because I'm about to get a new Wham Bam flex system, which some of you may have seen, the spring steel, and they just pop off. That's what I'm going to go for. I'm going to spend some money and get that. But the magneticity, or whatever you call it, you'd put it on and it was so easy to move off. It wasn't like the Ender 3 over there. And I have a feeling that this is probably like a knockoff. But still, it should be magnetic. And what I would find is when it was on, even though it would feel magnetized, but, weakly magnetized, that this corner here would basically lift up, and it would actually have a gap there like that. It was so bad. So I rarely ever used this. It was terrible. And in fact, just the other day, I stuck it on to have a go, and I'd only turned my printer on for the first time in, I think, 8 months. And something had happened, and anyway, the nozzle was down too low, and it tore that up, and so this was stuffed. And it was stuffed anyway, so it didn't bother me so much. But basically, a while ago, I bought a bunch of stuff from Banggood, and I thought it's stupid having this here and not having, a decent sheet on there. So I ended up buying a brand new sheet to stick on there, and that's it there. And that's what I'll be doing today. I'm going to actually see if you guys want to watch and stick that on there. It should be good. Should be easy. It's not going to be an instructional video, but I haven't been watching anyone else do it, but I can't imagine it's any different to sticking the the magnetic base down for that other system. I think I'm just going to heat up the bed, and that should make this adhesive a little easier to pull off, I guess. See, I can still get in there, but it's still resisting me a fair bit. But I'm assuming once it's heated up, that'll be a lot easier to peel off. But yeah, so basically that has been a nightmare. The base has been a nightmare on these things. But the biggest problem I've had since day dot is the BLTouch, the auto bed leveling system. You know, this thing that's underneath there. It's just been a bitch the entire time I've had it. I think, you know, the first few times I used this thing, I'm pretty sure it worked great, you know, for the first week or so. You know how it actually goes along and it takes all these different measurements. It drops the pin, turns blue, drops the pin, and then it measures, you know, and it retracts every, you know, oh, whatever it is, couple of inches. What was happening with mine after a week or so is the pin stopped dropping. I mean, it would do most of it, but then maybe right down here, there would be one point where it wouldn't drop. And you go, hang on a second, that's not supposed to happen. That's going to throw my whole bed leveling thing off, and you'd have to redo the whole thing until it would actually do it properly and not, you know, and not pose a problem in a particular spot where you'd have to do it until the pin dropped in every single section. So, yeah, that was pretty bad, and it's always been like that, I think. But it was always kind of you could get by, you could easily get by, and you would eventually get it to bed level. But now that I've actually had this printer turned off for almost this full year. I think it hasn't been going since February. It was the last time I got it going, and yeah, I finally turned it on, and now it is just not working hardly at all. I mean, it will work sometimes where the pin will drop, but most of the time the pin doesn't drop. So I don't know if that's a software issue or if that's a BLTouch issue. To me, it sounds like it's a BLTouch, like a hardware issue. And I mean, I remember asking the people who I bought this from. I think it was an eBay mob. I'm in Australia, mind you, and I think if you're in Australia and you get a Creality printer, most of the time it's going to be through eBay, you'd think. And I remember asking the people that I bought it off, and they were, I don't know, you know, screwing me around a bit, and I was thinking, oh, then I'm not getting anywhere with these guys. And at the time I was going to ring, you know, not ring, you know, send Creality a message, and then I just started seeing how they were treating a lot of their, you know, clients, people buying their machines, and all these horror stories from other people, and I'm thinking, is it actually worth it? And shortly after, I was thinking, I really like the look of the Ender 5 Plus, and I almost bought one of those things, and but I noticed that it was a flawed machine from the get-go. From the beginning, there were people, all these people having major problems. And me personally, I actually noticed all these negative comments on their website. And then a day later, all those comments would be gone, you know, all the negative reviews. So they were doctoring their reviews. So I just thought to myself, I'm not even going to bother getting in contact with them about that BLTouch. I will... And I still haven't really done this yet, but luckily there is a really, really good, you know, forums on Facebook. It's really good. So the whole support issue is, the whole support thing is there for people who have Creality machines. And to be honest, that's the main reason I bought a Creality machine. It was because of how many people there were in the community and how much, you know, how great the support was. So it sounds like I was just, you know, bastardizing Creality, and I honestly I wasn't. I just, you know, I was just explaining, you know, why I didn't, you know, contact them about the issues I was having, which probably seem minor to most people. But yeah, I think it's really good. So what I'm going to have to do shortly is, you know, make a small video, and I may actually do that today, of this actual pin not dropping down and working correctly, and see what, you know, post it to some of the forums on Facebook, and get some members that care. Members that care, give me their advice and see what they think. Because at the moment, I am using it with all my auto bed leveling turned off. And I find that fine, you know, it's been working great. I don't think I've got a real warped bed. In fact, when we peel this off today, this sheet, what I might do after I've cleaned it down is actually stick a metal ruler across there and see if it is actually warped. But if it is warped, it's warped so insignificantly that it doesn't really affect any of my print. Well, it hasn't affected any of my prints so far. So I've been using it without the bed leveling, and it's been half decent. It's been pretty good. Apart from that bed leveling problem and the BLTouch problem, which are actually some of the most major problems, I reckon. The other problem that I had was this gantry. This gantry here, it wasn't, and I'm pretty sure like 95% of printers, no matter what brand you get, or 90%, 95% of at least Creality printers, this gantry is actually not level. And what I end up doing was, where did I put them? Printing out a couple of these blocks that you stick in there, that side, and then you lower the gantry down to see how far off each side is. I think this side was down too far. I think this side was, I can't remember. Yeah, so I had to fix that. And most people tell you, when you see, people on YouTube doing it, they say what you do is you disable the steppers and you get your hands behind here and you manipulate the steppers so that it is level. But honestly, that is probably the easy way out. That never really is effective. And I tried that a few times and I didn't have really good results. The only way to fix that particular issue, I think, is by taking this particular entire gantry off. And there's a way, and there's a guy that I actually looked at, and this is who I think his name was, he's on YouTube, I think his name was NJ Tech. And he explained it really well. He didn't actually do it to his because he'd already done it, but he explained what particular screws to undo and why you had to take this off. And there's a pivot screw here that you need to actually pivot this gantry on, and then you have to come and adjust this particular part over here to get it level. And when I did that, I actually got it. It was working great, and I was doing some really nice prints. That's the only, that's not the only issue that I had. I just mentioned the bed and the BLTouch, but so they would be the three main issues that I've had with this printer, which sucks because it was a brand new printer that cost me over $800 when I bought it. So you'd expect it to, work out of the box great, and it did work out of the box pretty well. Listen, I'll show you the first thing that I ever printed. I actually put it up here just to get it out of the way because it's so bloody long. Check this out. Can you see what that is? Up there? Let me pull it out. It's just stuck it up on my sofa. This is, let me just put it here. This is the Mandalorian rifle from Star Wars. It's the very first thing that apart from, the whole Creality cat or whatever that bloody thing was, or the dog and the calibration cube, but this was the first major print that I did, and that was like within probably the first day of setting the printer up, and I started printing this, and there's a lot of parts in this thing, and the parts are just flawless. I mean, I was so happy, incredibly happy with how this came out. I still have to do the back end, the stock, the handlebar for the gun. So yeah, the handle, the stock, I need to print that out. But that turned out really well. So that was basically my first print that I did on that. But since then, I'd also done a bunch of other really cool prints. I'll show you some of those now. Check out this. This is probably the biggest print that I've done, and this is going to be a Christmas present for my brother. It's a lamp. It's the Lord of the Rings City of Gondor, I think it is. Yeah, it's cool. You can actually lift that up, stick a light in there, and it lights up and it looks incredible. I think this was just over 50 hours to print that. It's so nice. Let me just lift this up. Now I am having some problems with this gimbal that I'm using, that my camera's attached to. It might spack out every now and then, so be prepared. But look at the detail. Just look at all the detail in that. It was so nice. I loved it. I was watching this, felt like I sat in front of the printer for probably 2 days straight just watching it because I couldn't believe how nice it was turning out. So yeah, big print, and I can't believe I'm going to give it away. It's crazy. I can't believe all of my really good prints so far, apart from that Mandalorian rifle, I've given away. And to be honest, I'll probably end up giving that Mandalorian rifle away as well. My little nephew, my brother's boy, I'm going to give this to my brother this year. I was thinking about giving my little nephew the Mandalorian rifle because he seems to be quite taken with it. But that was probably one of the, if not the coolest thing. Now the other really cool thing that I've printed would be this. Hang on, let me just move this other thing out of the way. This is a dragon lamp. Can you see that? This is basically, I started printing this when the whole Game of Thrones would have been in the 2019, end of 2019, so it was all fresh in people's minds. I printed this, and oh man, it was good. So this actually comes off. That's a dragon, obviously. And oh, I almost dropped it. And you don't want to drop these things, because when I printed him in basically that's how he printed, off the bed. So as you can imagine, these are a real weak spot. So if you drop that, that'll snap off. And I gave one of these to my brother for Christmas last year, and he dropped it pretty quick and it snapped the tail, and yeah, you have to re-glue it and all of that kind of stuff. So I'm printing him another one. Instead of just gluing it or pinning it, he actually put this big bit of like Bondo or something around there. It looks terrible, so I thought I'll print him another one. I've had this printed for almost, many months, since probably earlier this year, and I've had this ready to give him, so I'm going to give him this to replace his other one. He will give me his initial one, and I will fix it up and stick it on this, and that's the flame. And you're supposed to put a light inside there, and you can change the color of the lights with these LEDs, and oh, it's awesome. It looks so good. And I remember putting photos of this on my Facebook, and it's one of the most loved Facebook posts I actually had put up, and I was getting people, commenting that I hadn't actually heard from for years, and so it was definitely well received. So that was that there, and the Mandalorian rifle are definitely the coolest things that I've printed. It's funny though, what I would find is I would actually be watching TV, and I just want to print something. So you jump on Thingiverse and you'd end up just with all this plastic crap. Like, check that out. What do you think that is? That's a Jurassic Park there, the whole, not a Velociraptor, Raptor Claw. So from Jurassic Park. I wanted one of those after, being a fan of the movie, so I printed off one of those. Actually, printed off a small one first. That was pretty cool, calibration cube. And this thing here, which actually hasn't been finished yet, but I have myself an authentic, original Graflex lightsaber, which I paid hundreds of dollars for years ago. It's an original, how the lightsabers were, the big camera flash handles, arms for the cameras back in the vintage, 1920s. I'm not sure what year they came out, but I ended up buying one of those. It's just been in my drawer for years and years, but I thought I'm going to print myself a lightsaber stand, and I'll end up finishing it one day. I think that you can actually put a light. I think there's a bottom part of that, and you can put a light inside there to shine up onto the lightsaber. But I'll eventually finish that. Oh, check this out! I forgot this. See, this is a what are these called? A lithophane. So if I put that in front of some light, you can't really see it there. But yeah, there you go. That's the Balrog from Lord of the Rings. So that's just printed in layers. It's cool. In fact, last Christmas I just made lithophane boxes with family photos on them and gave them to Mum and Dad, and they just thought they were they were basically, last year was the coolest Christmas presents I'd ever given, and I didn't pay for any of them, just the printer. And so I'll end up doing a bunch for next Christmas, which is very quickly approaching. Talking about, you end up having all this plastic crap. There's another example. Is it a megalodon tooth? I had to print one of those out. But yeah, there's some of the, and this thing here. Does anyone know what that is? That is the screw out of the Iron Giant. I saw that and I went, definitely printing that. It's one of my favourite movies. So I'll end up printing the Iron Giant at some stage because there's some pretty decent files out there. But that's the screw. You remember right at the end of the movie how this screw is tapping on the window trying to get out and eventually makes his way back to the Iron Giant. So that's it. I thought, I'm having one of those. So printed one of those out. And this is another one of those real wow factor things. Check this out. So this here is chainmail. I actually made a machine that made the chainmail links, and then I linked them together. Probably took me a couple of nights, I think, just to make that little piece there. Imagine my surprise when I discovered you can 3D print chainmail. Look at that! It 3D prints it already linked up. And I printed all of this stuff. And I love it. Look how cool the chainmail, the links look. They're like, kind of reminds me of a dwarf and, you know, Lord of the Rings dwarf type of chainmail. Nice and chunky. But I printed that, already linked up. And I guess this is saying something about the CR-10S Pro V2. It printed it, not a single problem. Like I've seen a lot of people trying to print this type of chainmail and they always have a problem, but this thing printed perfectly. I mean, it's amazing watching it print. I think I've got some footage, but yeah, it takes a little time. I think this probably took, I don't know, 12 hours. I can't remember. I think it printed overnight. But I was just amazed when I actually peeled it off. It was so, you know how you get those, what do they call them? AMSR or whatever those, where they're peeling the plastic off. And it sounds really, it gives you that really nice feel. People love peeling the protective layer of plastic. You try peeling one of these things off the bed of a printer. That is probably the most satisfying peels that I've ever had in my life, I reckon. That was really cool. So that was awesome. In fact, I was thinking about eventually, you know, making myself a whole chainmail suit out of this stuff. Maybe not out of these links, but I do have, you know, a Lord of the Rings. I like making Lord of the Rings cosplay type outfits for myself. I'm a bit of an elf. I actually used to go to red carpet nights dressed up as an elf, and for you know, openings of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings and all of that kind of stuff. I wonder if I'll stick any of those photos up. I doubt it. But anyway, let's get back to this. What I'm going to do now is, after how long have we been going for? Almost half an hour. This won't take that long. I'm just going to basically preheat this bed up. I'm going to try and get this off. I'll end up taking this actual base off here and then trying to peel it up and clean it down, and then put the next one on, the new one on, and take it from there, I guess. All right, let's get started. Okay, so first of all, let's just turn this on. Wait for this splash screen to mosey on along. Let's go to temperature. Let's manually set the hot bed, and we'll probably go to, normally have it set to about 45. Let's just set it to 60 and see how we go. Alright, so it's slowly starting to get warm now. May even see if I can set that up. Can I may even make that a little bit hotter. Actually, I'm going to go 70. And the reason being, this is going to take a little bit longer, because remember I said that I've got the magnetic base for this, for that stupid system that I bought. The magnetic base is still actually between, it's kind of sandwiched between these two plates. So it's probably going to take a little bit longer to get warm. It always does. So I can feel it's getting warm now. We're up to 50 degrees. But that's just the thermostat that's reading 50 degrees. That's I'll probably have to wait a good, I don't know, 5 or 10 minutes before it is actually quite warm. So I'll end up just time-lapsing this. Wow, that's so much easier to peel off when it's hot. In fact, I don't even know if I definitely will take this off, but I might peel this off while it's on the printer still. I've definitely reached 70 degrees now, but that's just, I'm not going to wait another 5 minutes, that's for sure. That's just coming up beautifully. Right, all of my clips are off. I'm just going to grab a rag just to hot that, so it's actually quite hot now. There we go. So that came off really easily, and I'm quite surprised. There's no residual glue or adhesive holding that down, so I might just pop that on the table. But you can see I've still got the magnet for where's that base thing gone? This piece of crap. I mean, that was never really, I mean, it was nowhere near as magnetic as the Ender 3 Pro. And yeah, this part here would kind of, wasn't even touching half the time, so it would lift up, so it'd be good to get rid of that. So what I might do, I guess we can turn the printer off. There's no real reason to keep that on, but get yourself a nice soft cotton cloth. I like using old pair of undies or an old t-shirt. That type of cotton is the best for polishing and wiping and cleaning, I find. But might just throw a bit of isopropyl alcohol on there. Just wipe that down. All right, I think that's looking good. Time to put this sheet on. Okay, so I got this sheet from Banggood. Now I'm pretty sure that I don't know what products they sell, whether they're authentic stuff from Creality or not. I'm pretty sure most of the stuff is. But I think when you buy these things, it's it's a lucky dip whether they come all creased. And I saw a lot of people having, they were leaving comments saying that you can actually see here, this is a little creased, and they got some creases up just on this side there. So, but I saw a lot of people complaining and saying that they were just completely stuffed. So yeah, you're really taking a risk, buying something like this. But having said that, I was going to take the risk. I think this only costs $16, and I'm hoping that these creases, there are little lumps there, but I'm hoping that once it's actually stuck down, that's actually going to, be a non-issue. There's only a couple. I think I did quite well. Yeah, they didn't put it in any kind of protective. I think it was just a padded envelope, which they crease quite easily. So, yeah. So it's basically. I'm going to put this tripod on my printer, even though it's still quite hot. But I think it can handle it. The DJI Osmo gimbal. All right, so let me just get rid of any dust that's underneath here. Just lining that up. That looks like it lines up quite nicely, actually. It is probably 1 millimeter too long. Width is perfect. But anyway, I'm just going to kind of peel this back a little bit, basically like I started my magnetic base when I put my magnetic base on. Doesn't look like it's completely square on there yet. Like if I was to show you, see how I've got a little edge there, it tapers off to the point there, but this side is fine. I might actually redo that. So let's just unpeel this up again. Oh man, it sticks good. Okay, let's try that again. Now we're cooking. That's nice and square. Hang on a second, guys. I'm just going to grab something hard and flat. I'm just going to use a ruler. Even though it's snapped in half, it's probably the most perfect thing to use. And I am just going to start peeling this through. Alright, so let's as soon as you get to any of these wrinkles, or I'm just going to give these a little bit more attention, and that doesn't feel too bad. In fact, this one here, which is probably the worst one, isn't bad at all. So I'd probably risk it. Definitely I'll risk it again buying another one of these if I had to on Banggood, but hopefully I won't have to ever use these. You know, I'm only putting this on because it just seems like a bit of a waste of a bed if I don't have something on there. And there's only one real thing that it can be used for, is this. I'm going to get the Wham Bam flexible system. You know, the sheet steel, the spring steel that you flex and it should pop off. I just did some sums, jumped on their website and found out how much the shipping was. I can't remember what just one system costs, but I do know that I think I am going to buy the double system, so that you get, I think, 2 spring steels, 2 of everything apart from the magnetic base. And I think it's only like $50 extra. So I thought, oh, I'm going to do that and have a spare one, or I might be able to use that on another machine later, because hey, I don't really need a base, because this base that's already on my printer now, it's hopefully that is magnetic enough to kind of work with the Wham Bam, you know, the one that I've already got on my printer now. If not, I'll stick the one that comes with the Wham Bam system on, but if it's magnetic enough, I'm just going to use the one that's already on there and keep the one as a spare that comes with the system. And look at that! Oh god, my printer is going to look like it's a brand new printer. There's no lumps, there's no nothing. These little you know, creases and things, they don't really amount to anything. I mean, right on this corner here, that kind of you can feel that. It's like right within a millimetre off the corner. But I don't think that's a problem. Even when I've done that, I think it's fixed it. Wow, there you go. So that was pretty easy. You just set you up here. Still nice and warm. Set you back there. I'd like to get rid of the base basically and put those Creality clips back on, because they're quite nice looking. But these Bulldog clips, or whatever these things are called, they're easy. Now I can do some prints. I want to print my mum and dad a really nice lamp, like a, what did I see on the lithophane site, lithophanemaker.com I think it is. This guy puts up this really cool, you can print a lamp. I'm going to do a lampshade with photos of my little niece and nephew, their grandkids, on there, and give that to them for Christmas. But that went well. Happy with that. This particular one here, man, that was sticky. That was like really sticky. Like, I'm quite impressed with the quality of that. Feels exactly the same as this. This does feel like it was a hell of a lot stiffer than this one here. But having said that, who knows? We'll see how we go with this. Anyway, let's wait for the Wham Bam. That should be good. Anyway, guys, I think that's it. That's about it for this video. I just really wanted to show you this printer, maybe have a chat, give you my thoughts, tell you my experiences with it, and maybe change that, and I've accomplished that. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Later. Hey guys, before I go, listen, I'll just quickly show you this BLTouch issue I'm having, just in case there are people out there that know what I'm going through. I'll just turn on the printer. Alright, we've got the splash screen up. There we go. So let's hit settings. We'll go to leveling. I guess it's auto homing. Looking good. So there you go, that worked out quite well, and a lot of the times that hasn't been working lately, so I don't know why. The pin hasn't been dropping, but that time on camera it's working beautifully. But now that we're there, let me just hit this measuring here, and let's see if we can get it to recreate what the dilemma I'm having. Okay. Let's see if it drops the pin. Oh, there we go. It dropped the pin. We got a blue light. Nice. I swear, if it actually does it correctly this time, I'll be spewing. I mean, I haven't got this far for a long time. It hasn't done a complete row for such a long time. No freaking way. There you go. Nope, spoke too soon. So there you go. See, it didn't drop the pin, and it's done it again. I mean, why isn't it dropping the pin? Is it... I don't know. It feels like it's got a sticky pin or something. It's trying to. No, see, it's just not doing it right. Sometimes it'll actually take off again and do the rest of them perfectly fine, but and just leave a bunch, or it'll just, there'll be groups of 3 or 4 where it just won't drop the pin, and it'll just move on, and then it'll take off like nothing bad happened, and it'll complete the rest of the cycle perfectly fine. But see, look at this, it's actually not even dropping, and the gantry is steadily going up and up. I don't know. I'll just let this run its course, and I might try it again. I'll do the whole thing again and see what happens. Look, the gantry's out of sight almost. It keeps going up. I'll just angle this up a little bit. Sometimes if I actually pull the pin out manually, drop it down, it'll actually start off again. So that's why I was thinking maybe a sticky pin. But, there you go. So that's the last one. We got some pretty funky looking measurements happening there. So what I am going to do is actually start that again. I'm just going to hit the measuring button again and see what happens. And I think I'll be speeding this up. What's the deal? Why do they make these things go so slowly when they're doing this? Oh, look at that. Now it's going up. It's starting to go up. What's the deal? What's the deal, dude? Ugh. Alright, so now it just says auto leveling, please wait. So I get this a lot where it'll just say that and nothing will happen. The only way to break this out, snap it out of it, is to turn the machine off and start again and turn it on again. Which is what I might do now. Just give it a couple more seconds. Okay, I'm calling it. Okay. Turn it back on. Just wait for this splash screen to finish. Alright, so I'll hit the settings. I'll hit the leveling. Alright, so now it should basically auto home, right? Oh, come on. See, the pin's not dropping even for this. It keeps going up. See, that didn't work. That should have auto-homed and it didn't, and now we're, left with this set of numbers. So I mentioned that before, that it doesn't auto-home, it just does what it just did now. Let me hit measuring and see what happens. It's like the pin's stuck. Oh, there you go. Now it's not doing it again. It's not dropping. Let me see what happened. Oh, there we go. I was going to pull it out manually, but it's just done it itself. This could be a while. I'll have to fast forward this. Excuse me. Oh, come on. Now it's going back up. I don't know. Is it because it's starting so high up? Maybe I should drop it down. Unscrew, screw it down. So use the steppers and wind it down. And let me try that. All right. So let me just. Listen, I'm just going to unplug it for a few seconds. Okay, I'm plugging the plug back in, I'm turning it on, and let's try it again. Alright, settings. Leveling. Alright, let's see if this auto homes. Looking good. Is it going to drop the pin? Nope. It's not dropping the pin. Why not? just starts its climb to Everest. And we've got this, you know, this is all changed to so it didn't auto home, it didn't, you know, drop the pin and take that measurement like it would normally do. In fact, let me just try something. Let's just see if I can manually pull that pin down, push it up. I'm just going to hit measuring and see if anything happens. Hopefully I'm not doing the pin any damage by doing that. There you go, so it's doing it again. So that's my life. That's why I don't bother with this BLTouch. It's been drops. It's been doing this ever since I got the machine. It's just got really bad. You know, like I mentioned before, it used to be where it might take 1 or 2 attempts and it would, you know, measure each point perfectly. It would kind of do each point perfectly after a couple of times. See, that didn't even go down then. It didn't even go all the way down, and now it's starting to go up. So I don't know. Yeah, I'll try it one more time. See, that's stuck now. It just says auto leveling, please wait, and it will just stay like that forever. I think, like I've left it on for, you know, 15 minutes and it hasn't changed before. But you could see that I turned it back on and the pin went up and down like it was fine. All right, last time. Let's hit leveling. Oh, it dropped. Pin's down. Nice. Oh, it dropped again. Okay, so that's good. That's how it should be, I guess. So let's hit measuring, and let's see if we can do that to all of the zones. There we go, first one's looking good. We've got a blue light looking good. There we go. Didn't do it. It's so frustrating. Anyway, I'm calling it again. I can't. Oh, there you go. It's decided to start playing ball. Blue light's on. I feel like opening the BLTouch up, is it, and cleaning it inside, would that do anything, or is it... There you go, it's stuffing up again. Can't imagine how it could be dirty or there could be anything in there making it stick. But I don't know. I kind of think that it's a hardware issue, but I'm not ruling out a software type thing. Yeah, so there we go. We got firmware version 1.70.0 BL. But yeah, there we go. I'm going to call it. Thanks for watching, guys. If anyone has any idea about what's going on with this BLTouch on my printer, I'd love to hear from you. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.